Well, what I'm going to talk about today is collecting and storing graftwood. You may also hear that referred to as Scion wood, and that's how you pronounce that word, Scion. Sometimes I see it as one word, sometimes I see it as two. I think everybody knows what you're talking about. If they know anything about grafting or budding or propagating plants by by this method, they'll know what you're talking about. Uh, First and foremost, you do have to anticipate the need for graftwood ahead of time because the wood that you cut has to be dormant, and it has to remain dormant until you can use it in the spring. I always cut more than I think I'll need. Usually have somebody that wants me to send them some, or you get a job later on that you didn't expect you were going to have. For whatever reason, I usually throw away most of what I cut, but it's after the spring grafting season. But I never have run out. Maybe some varieties I will run out of, but anyway, cut more than you need. It's really a good idea to only cut from bearing trees of a known variety or cultivar. That just makes sense. I mean, if you're trying to propagate a certain apple, then you make sure that is the apple that you're cutting the wood from, and that just goes without saying. If you are propagating patented varieties, prepare to pay royalties or license fees to propagate the patented or copyrighted cultivars or whatever. The wood that you're collecting, what I'm talking about today, you will keep that in the refrigerator and keep it dormant, and that can be used for when the rootstock bark is slipping and the Scion wood does not have to slip. You can also use this for whip grafting during the dormant for apples, pears, peaches, plums, whatever. So where was I? Left off with this wood can be used for whip grafting, full flat grafting, or inlay grafting. In some cases, you can season stored graft wood and use it for budding. That's just get the Scion wood to become active. The cambium layer needs to become active so that bark will slip as well. And I've done that a few times with some reasonable success on pecan especially, and that helps out when the number of Scion wood or the quantity is not what you had anticipated, and you need to use it. You can get 3 or 4 buds off of a stick as opposed to just using one stick. Okay. All right, the best time to collect is the late dormant season. I just took this picture because it was an unusual event where the fog actually froze on the trees. This was back in December when it got really cold one morning, and this just is the dormant season. There's nothing going on. I usually like to wait till toward the end of January or sometime early February to collect my Scion wood. Like to leave it on the tree as long as I can, but you don't want to leave it there too long because once it starts becoming active, it's not any good to store. Some nurseries maintain dedicated trees to collect Scion wood from, and I do that myself. I've got certain varieties that nobody else has, and so I just keep a few trees with just those varieties, and I cut Scion wood off of them every year. You need to collect from bearing trees of a known variety unless you are propagating a new seedling. This particular pecan tree here is the original tobacco barn pecan tree growing in Waycross, Georgia. Before this, before I collected wood and started propagating, this was the only tree in the world of that particular pecan. Now there's quite a few of them, just because I collected wood and started propagating it. For whatever reason, it didn't catch on. It's, you know, you're going to need to be real close to the Gulf Coast to grow this one. It buds out early, and it takes a full growing season to grow it. Collect the wood and cut it to length and label it. Scion wood is useless unless it's labeled. I don't know how many times I've gone in the refrigerator, maybe not mine, but maybe sometimes mine, and I'll pick up a bag and it'll just be blank. I don't know. I have no idea what it is. I had some one time that I needed to identify, and I got down with I never did get it fully identified. So I don't, there may be some trees that are named something that probably are something else, but it's useless unless it's labeled. You can store this in plastic bags that you can seal up and use moist paper towels or moist cedar shavings. When I say moist, if you can squeeze the paper towels and water drips out, that's too wet. It just needs to be moist. The cedar shavings I soak in a bucket over a couple of nights and then drain out in a net and let all the water drain out until it quits dripping, and then I use it from there. You also want to check your wood after you put it in the refrigerator and make sure that the bags are still sealed and that there is some water collecting on the insides, some condensation on the inside of the bags. You then just store it in the refrigerator until spring. I like to store my graftwood at about 36 to 38 degrees. You don't want to freeze it. And as you can see, there is some moisture condensation on the inside of those bags. And that's what my graftwood looks like in my refrigerator. I have a dedicated refrigerator just for graftwood. That's all. The only reason I own the refrigerator, just for graftwood. Now you can take up space in the crisper of just a regular kitchen refrigerator if you don't have a lot, but I usually cut a lot. So, I went ahead and bought a dedicated refrigerator. Okay, that's the end of the presentation. It's not much to it, but you do have to know how to do that in order to, to have the wood that you need for spring grafting. So is there any questions?